Did you know in the late 2000s, a married couple in their late 90s had ended their marriage? A 99-year-old Italian man and his 96-year-old wife, who was also Italian, had ended their marriage after 77 years. Apparently, the husband found a cache of love letters from an affair that his wife had 60 years prior. This was enough for the man to decide that he wanted a divorce, giving them the record for the oldest divorcing couple ever. We take it for granted that married couples can divorce. But believe it or not, there are still places in the world where these two would not have been able to divorce. Today, we're going to cover those countries where divorce is not legal, as well as some others where it is very restrictive. When it comes to divorce, Vatican City is in a league of its own. As the world's smallest country, both in area and population, it may seem like an outlier, but its stance on marriage has significant symbolic weight. Why? Because it's the spiritual and administrative heart of the Roman Catholic Church, and its laws reflect that role entirely. Divorce in Vatican City is not just frowned upon, it's non-existent. The reason is simple. Vatican City is governed entirely by Catholic doctrine. According to the Church's teachings, marriage is a sacred sacrament. Once you're married, that bond is meant to last for life. Till death do us part isn't just poetic, it's policy. But who actually lives there? The population of under 1,000 people mostly consists of clergy, Swiss guards, church officials, and diplomats. So, while the law banning divorce exists, it is rarely tested in a practical sense. Among all sovereign states, the Philippines holds a unique distinction as the only country outside of Vatican City, where divorce is still illegal for the vast majority of its population. In a nation of over 110 million people rich in diversity, culture, and history, it seems strange that something like divorce isn't a basic right that people would have access to. However, the roots of the anti-divorce law runs deep in their history and culture. The Philippines' resistance to divorce is tied to their Catholic heritage. For over 4 centuries, the Philippines have been practicing Catholicism, a legacy of Spanish colonization. Even today, about 80% of Filipinos identify as Roman Catholic, and the Church still greatly influences political and social life. Catholic doctrine, which regards marriage as a sacred, lifelong commitment, has shaped national laws in profound ways. While outright divorce is off the table, there are workarounds for those married couples no longer wanting to be together. Legal separation. This enables married couples to separate. However, there are limitations. Neither person is allowed to remarry or even to have sexual relations with other people. Declaration of nullity. Under very special circumstances, a marriage can be declared outright invalid by the court. Annulment. Under a broader set of conditions than a declaration of nullity, an annulment could be ruled for a marriage that was truly valid, but circumstances changed or evidence arose that allow the court to annul the marriage. These circumstances are typically considered those of deception by one of the persons in the marriage. It's important to point out that the process of annulment is much more complicated and expensive than pursuing a declaration of nullity. For many Filipinos, especially those without financial means, these processes are out of reach. This has left many trapped in broken or abusive marriages with little legal recourse. The exemption for Islam. Interestingly, divorce is legal in the Philippines for Muslims. Under the Code of Muslim Personal Laws, divorce is possible for Muslims. This exception to the majority rule highlights the tension between religious traditions and the secular legal system. Honorable mentions: North Korea. Although divorces technically can and do take place in North Korea, it is very much considered abnormal behavior to seek a divorce. In late 2024, Kim Jong-un declared that divorcing couples will now be sent to labor camps for 6 months, or even longer in some cases. Is that a price that you would pay? Poland and Slovakia, both former Eastern Bloc countries, require the court to determine whether the divorcing couples do indeed have grounds for divorce. For this reason, divorce rates are somewhat lower in these countries than in the rest of Europe. There are also several countries in Africa, South America, and South Asia where fault-based divorce is employed. This means that there must be a proven reason that is acceptable under the law, which gives grounds for divorce. In contrast, most countries in the world have varying degrees of no-fault divorce, where the decision can be made without any challenge as to the reason for the divorce.